What is up, guys? Welcome to the Sports Scoop with Lucas Lee and
Hill here, G.
Today we will be talking about the top 5 sports misplays of all time.
And we'd like to give a shout out to Top 5 who helped us with the editing process and gave us some great ideas for our podcast today.
We'll start with the current events. So recently, the Phoenix Suns have been eliminated by the Minnesota Timberwolves in 4 straight games.
Okay, now on to the NHL playoffs. We have today Lightning versus Florida, and that's, you already know, in the series is 3-1 for Florida. Looking like a big sweep there from Florida. We're looking at a big win. And then we have Vegas and Stars. This is a good game. Now Vegas still leads 2-1 in the series so far. Then we have Edmonton and the Los Angeles Kings, which Edmonton leads 3-1 in the series so far. And then we have New York Rangers, who just swept the Capitals. New York Rangers would be looking to move on to the next round and actually have the best odds of winning the whole Stanley Cup. And then over in the Canadian side, we got the Canucks, who just beat the Predators in overtime. What a goal by Lindholm. They lead now 3-1 in the series, and Colorado leads 3-1 against the Jets.
Now on to the top 5 misplays of sports history. For us, number 5, Chris Paul pushing Giannis Antetokounmpo in Game 5 of the 2021 Finals, which leads to a loss by 4 points. Very close game.
And then we're going to head over into the football side. So at number 4, we're going to take the cake with the fear of the ball between Denver and Carolina during the Super Bowl. After the ball gets knocked out of Cam Newton's hands, he gets scared of the ball and runs away from it. Instead of trying to recover the ball, he just decides, you know what, I'm scared of this ball. You know, it's done worse things for me. And, you know, he could have really saved the game there as they end up losing in the Super Bowl.
Number 3, we have timeout corner. University of Michigan star Chris Webber called timeout without any left, leading to a loss. Also a very close game.
And then at number 2, we have the double fumble trouble. During the 2023 Super Bowl final, both running backs, Christian McCaffrey and Isaiah Pacheco, fumbled the ball back-to-back, wasting possessions when they both were so close to scoring in the first half. So this would have led for maybe the 49ers to get an extra edge or an extra touchdown on the Kansas City Chiefs, which even as we know, the Chiefs beat the 49ers. We think that maybe the Niners could have taken the cake with that touchdown from CMC. Considering that both of them are actually star players as well, this is not like them. This is not like their nature. And we believe that they should still be able to score those touchdowns. And it was a little bit devastating for both fans.
And number 1, crotch shot. Draymond Green punches LeBron James's nuts in the finals, Game 4 of 2016. This leads to his ejection for the next game, and he was a crucial player defensively in the series. Now we'll go into in-depth analysis. So, Chris Paul pushing Giannis in Game 5. So, what happened? Alley-oop from Drew Holiday to Giannis, and Chris Paul pushes Giannis when he is dunking, and Giannis still makes the dunk with the foul and makes the free throw.
Yeah, that was quite shocking there. And then fear of the ball with Cam Newton. This is just a no-brainer. You know, you don't run away from the ball in football. It's a contact sport. You know, you're really gonna dive for that ball. You know, you got drafted, you were known as one of the best quarterbacks of all time, and here you are looking like an absolute idiot on the field and just running away from the ball when you actually could have given your team the extra edge as you were losing to Denver in the Super Bowl. And, you know, that was Peyton Manning's era, and you could have defeated that era. And who knows, maybe Peyton Manning's era could have ended there. And you, Cam Newton, decided, you know what, we love Peyton Manning here, and we're just going to give the ball away and, you know, run away from it, even though we got the second chance and don't want a doggy pile for it. So, yeah, that's all his fault.
And our number 3, timeout corner. So, as a star, Chris Webber should have been focusing a little more. We've seen this happen even in the NBA. Players call timeouts when they have none left, which results in a technical foul. But still, even though it's a common mistake, during the finals game of the NCAA tournament, you still have to focus up and make sure you make the right timing for timeouts.
Yeah, and then at number 2, we got the double fumble trouble, as I explained before. This is the most recent one during the Super Bowl. We saw that CMC, or Christian McCaffrey, and Isaiah Pacheco were both so close to the end zone and could have given their team an extra conversion, and that could have resulted in a touchdown. Being so close, and that would have really helped. Even though it wasn't their fault, they were being abused on those plays where they were just getting the ball so much because they thought that the running game was a lot better than their throwing game in the Super Bowl. They were just gassed, and that's their real excuse. But even though we know these guys had the skill set and we know that they could have done better, no, they should have held that ball tighter.
And number 1, like we said, the crotch shot, Draymond Green hitting LeBron James in the nuts. Why would you hit him? There's no point of hitting him. They needed Draymond Green. He was a defensive player. He ran their defense, made sure there were long closeouts that were successful, and just a brutal mistake, one that he's known for too.
And our honorable mention goes to the 1986 Game 7 game against the Flames and the Oilers, in which we see that Steve Smith scores on his own net. Now, this is just a shocking play, as the goaltender comes out behind and tries to clear the puck, and then instead it results in Steve Smith coming around, and he's looking as he gets pressured from the left side behind the net, and he decides, you know what, I think I'm going to try and wrap, and instead of trying to clear down the middle, which even then you shouldn't do, he hit it off the goaltender and in the net. Now that is just shocking, gives Calgary a free goal, and that gives Lanny McDonald that goal, and he really needed it that year, and that was a good motivation for him, as the result was that Calgary won in Game 7. Game 7, they forced the Game 7, and Steve Smith here blundering playoff games as if it's a regular season game, and that's pretty disappointing for Edmonton.
So now enter our big question. How could have these misplays changed the world of sports?
Yeah, so these misplays could have changed the role of sport because, for an example, in the Cam Newton situation, if Cam Newton dove for the ball rather than running away from it, it would have had a chance to come back from a 16-10 lead, which is only one touchdown away. And if they hit that extra point, they could have been up. And even though that's no excuse, he plays a sport of contact. He should have been able to, get there and really dove. And if he really wanted that Super Bowl, he would have dove there. And they just lost off of his own mistake. And this possibly could have been the game, seeing as though this misplay occurred during the last half of the Super Bowl. So it wasn't even during the first half where the team had time to recover. It was in the last 6 minutes, and that was quite tragic. So, yeah, and it could have been, as I said before, the defeat of the Peyton Manning era. But instead, he decided, you know what, we love you, Peyton. So here you go. Here's a ring.
Very lucky guy. So, additionally, if Draymond hadn't been ejected from the game, the Golden State Warriors would have had a stronger defensive core and would have been able to potentially beat the Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James. This would mean that Stephen Curry would have 5 rings and would solidify his position as the greatest point guard in NBA history, even over Magic Johnson.
Okay, and that will close out our episode for today, guys. And we'd just like to end with a quick conclusion and a recap of what we just talked about. We talked about the 5 misplays of sports history of all time. And we're going to make a Spotify question. You guys comment down below what you think the worst misplays are of sports history down in the comment section below.
That's a wrap.